family, it's Tasha, MAMABEAR Prepping. You already know what time it is. Get your drink, pull up. Let's talk about it. We're going to talk about Europe today, okay? A lot obviously has been happening in the Europe area, right, forefront. And to include obviously what's going on with Russia, how that will affect Europe, things that Europe's been doing. Europe as a whole, if you just say that whole area of the world has been preparing for something big for a while, right? From little things like telling their citizens to prepare, to the citizens actually preparing because they are worried about things popping off, from the pipeline explosion, sabotage, if you will, and the whole dilemma of who is behind that. That is if you guys are not following, I'm sure a lot of you that watch me are following this because we follow the same things, but this pipeline explosion, there's several leaks in this bad boy now, and it's almost comical, the back and forth of who actually did it, whose fault, and more importantly, what it would mean for who was behind it. Very scary. I try not to think about it too much because then I'll go down a rabbit hole of the who would be behind this, whether it's America, whether it's somebody in part of the EU, right, in Europe. Is it a country that belongs to NATO, does not belong to NATO, or is it flat out the Russians? Not cool at all. Now, I don't want to discuss the pipeline this whole video, but what I do want to talk about is the importance of watching things around the world and how it's starting in Europe. It's been started the day that war kicked off between Ukraine and Russia, and all those folks fled. They fled to parts of Europe, right? And when I say Europe, I'm talking about the UK as well, okay? I know UK is not part of the EU, but that whole part of the world should be concerned. I would also love to hear in the comments below, anybody who watches me that lives in the UK, who lives in Sweden, Finland, Norway, Germany, Poland, any of those places, Spain even, Scotland, wherever, any part of that part of the world, let us know in the comments below how it is. Is there food shortages? How's the food? How's the shelves? How's the politics? How's the government? What are they telling you? Are you preparing? Do you feel the need to prepare? Are you nervous about how you're going to feed your family or heat your home? What are you being told as a civilian on the ground in those countries in regards to war? I think Europe, it started for you, right? This World War III, we keep going back and forth on, well, what constitutes World War III starting? Has it started? I think it has, but I think it's a slow burn. I think this stuff takes years and years and years to really, really build up. This war is not an overnight thing, right? Can an incident or an event happen that is an apparent, act of war that, hey, everybody and their mother knows we're in a war, but war is a slow thing, okay? And I think that in Europe, that's where we're going to see it first. For us that are here in America, it's important to watch because things are going to pop off in Europe first, right? I think that's on the war front. When in regards to war, I think that's on the tactical nuke front. I think that's on cyber attacks. I think that's on bio attacks. I think that's on infrastructure attacks. On that front, or war front, we're going to see it in Europe first. We are seeing it in Europe first. It doesn't matter who did the pipeline explosion. That was an act of war. Whoever did it is trying to start something. Okay, they did it for a reason. That wasn't a mistake. That wasn't an accident. That was for real. And no matter what side did it, that is an act of war, and it is going to cause something. Something is going to happen. This annex situation is going to cause something. All this news and fluff about, oh, Ukrainians are pushing them back, they signed the papers and then we pushed them out. Like, please, I hope you're not so naive to just believe everything that you're watching on the news, okay? It is starting in Europe, okay? On a gas front, on natural gases, on the ability to heat your homes, it's going to be a hard winter for Europe. all over, people need to be concerned about this, because all these countries, to include us, are intertwined together. On the money front, on economic collapse front, we are next in line. If Europe goes down, we are going down. We're right there with them, okay? This is not, and I don't mean like we're going to have their back, because let me tell you, if tactical nukes are used, listen, I don't think we're going to do anything about it. That's just my opinion. And I hope that I'm wrong, but I think that we talk a big game, and I think that we will do something, but I think that we will decide on what is the level and what exactly happened before we actually just retaliate. And I don't know that a tactical nuke is going to make us pop off. Especially if it's in Europe and not here. I don't know. Could be wrong, okay? That's a whole other thing. Food front, political front, infrastructure front, right? Those things fail in Europe first. It's coming here, okay? Those are big problems that we've already been discussing about preparing for here. And then now you talk about, people have been talking about Europe as well. But I think Europe is where things happen first, and that we should be concerned with things that are happening there, okay? Again, I would love to hear in the comments, in the chat room, whenever you're watching this video, whether it's live or whether it's later, how things are for you over there. What else did I put? Infrastructure, political front, cyber attacks, resource wars. To me, this is part of resource wars, fighting for resources or taking them away, okay? All of that to me is something that I believe will be a very big deal in the future in regards to all types of resources, even something as simple as food and water, especially in this case, gas, right? Natural gas. This is a big, big deal, and it does affect us. And it will, it might not directly affect us, but as things get crippled in Europe, that is going to affect us and affect this country. I also am a firm believer that a pandemic is coming. What we went through was just it just was a starting point, if you will, to see how the people would line up, how we would react to something. The problem that is when something worse comes, where more people are dying. And then two, if you are struggling, if you have American people, European people, whoever, the world struggling to put food on the table, to keep their houses warm, to do basic things for life, you are going to have a big group of compliance. Even people that weren't compliant before will fall in line, okay? This is really, really important stuff, because we are on the precipice. It's about to pop off, okay? And like I said, it might not just be a, quick thing. This might take a while, but we are starting to really see some things that when you talk about war, when you talk about, are we in a war? What is happening? The pipeline is a big deal. That was a big, big deal. And unfortunately, we have Ian, that a large part of the world, but definitely this country, is paying attention to right now. We are paying attention to all these states, all this devastation. People are hurt. People can't be found. People died. People needing food, water. Again, that falls back to preparedness and being ready, right? And making sound decisions when things are coming your way. And, unfortunately, that's what we're dealing with. But it's also, unfortunately, what the news is wanting to cover and talk about. And instead of talking about all of the other stuff as well. And the pipeline is a huge thing that happened that a lot of people might not be getting that information because it's not really being talked about on the news, right? If you go and Google it and look for information, there is all types of coverage on it, okay? So you can find it out there. It's not like it's shadow banned or not on the internet. Go, read about it, look at it. You have all types of commentation on it where people are discussing, their thoughts on who did it, who did not do it, how it will affect us, how it's going to affect Europe this winter. This winter is about to be hard. And if I lived in Europe, I'm going even harder in the paint, I'm asking myself questions like, how am I feeding my family? Do I have the ability to keep them warm? Do I have different options for keeping them warm? How do I feed them? And do I have different options if panic buying or anything starts? Am I ready for nuclear fallout and nuclear war? As best you can, okay? Because again, maybe you don't make it through that situation. But if you did, do you have some stuff in your home to help you with that? Do you know where you would go in your home for fallout, okay? I would be second guessing any kind of traveling. And that's for us Americans traveling to Europe, I would highly be second guessing that. I'm not sure that I would be doing that. If I lived in Europe, I'd also be highly thinking about how do I get home, options for getting home, get home bags, where are the places that I normally go, and what are my options for getting home and getting home, the fastest way possible and the safest way possible if I get stuck somewhere. Those are the things that I'm trying to think about if I live there. Those are things that I think about here. But if you're talking about an escalation, things are getting worse. It's getting, every day, you're in a higher harm's way, I'm ensuring I'm doing these things. I'm thinking about transportation. I'm thinking about my income. Will any of this affect my income? I will continue to be able to make money? How will I get home if something happens? Do I have different options for getting home and just traveling in general, right? Maybe it's I need to do public transportation. Maybe it's I need to start carpooling. But what is your game plan for dealing with the gas situation, food situation, traveling situation? All of that as you go through and you move forward with SHTF, because Europe is already there. You are there in SHTF. We are too, okay? But if I had to rank them, Europe is in a worse spot than we are right now, okay? So please, anybody who lives in Europe, let us know, blow up the comments and let us know over here in America how you guys are, how things are working there, whether it's from a political view, a gas view, a food view, heating your home, anything that's happening, what you're being told as far as preparedness or preparing for nuclear fallout, anything you're being told, please share with us and let us know. Knowledge is power. And so the more that we share with each other, the stronger we are. So I will see you guys tomorrow on the next video. Blessings from my bear cave to yours.